Hi, how's it going? This is Kevin here, and today I'm going to talk about how to create an AWS VPC using Terraform. Now, if you're new to IT or you've been in IT for a while, you've probably heard of, obviously AWS and, Terraform's technology that's being used a lot. But basically, these two technologies are ones that's being used by companies all around the world. What it does is basically a lot of people who use AWS, they might typically go inside the GUI and click on a lot of things, when creating resources such as servers, VPCs, which is like a virtual private cloud, like your own portion of the network that's isolated to you, load balancers, subnet, security groups, all types of stuff. But basically, what Terraform does is it gives you the ability to create those environments using code so that you don't have to do all these manual tasks and things like that. You can keep all your environments basically in sync as far as how they should be as far as security standards and things like that. So I'm going to go through like this guide here, and it's just going to create a basic VPC. And this is only really to give you an idea of the power of Terraform and what it can help you do in your career and also your company. So first steps, you will need to download Terraform. Like I said, you can go to this link here. Let me see. I believe I put that in here. So yeah, so the initial download can be found here, or you can just go to terraform.io and download it. So once you go here, it's going to come up and you want to download that, and it's going to download a zip file. Like I said, this was done using Windows. And once that zip file is downloaded, you want to unzip it, and on your C drive, you want to create a folder called Terraform AWS. Now, it doesn't have to be named that. I just did because, it just kind of goes with what we're doing here. So I created this folder here under my users, username, and then Terraform AWS. Now, inside of that folder, mine doesn't have it, but yours, if you haven't used Terraform before, you want to create another folder called bin. And inside that bin folder, you're going to have your exe. Mine's actually in another folder since I've already had Terraform installed. You just drop that exe in there. Now, it doesn't have to be in the bin, but it's just a way to kind of keep it separate from your other files and things like that. So once you have that inside your bin file, you want to go into your system or your settings. You want to go to about, let's see, actually, let's just type about here. Go to advanced system settings. You want to go to environment variables. And up here where it says user variables, you want to just go to this path. And you want to put the path to where that terraform.exe file is. So that way then when you're in a command prompt, you can just type the word Terraform and it will know to use that file to run your commands. So once you get that set up, you basically move down into this next step. Now you want to set up your Terraform cloud account. And what this is going to help us do is this will keep our state file, state configuration, and our credentials for our AWS account. We'll use those in the cloud as well, so we don't have to store them on our local PC. It's kind of a little bit of best practice. Your state file kind of holds the configuration to your environment. So sometimes you might have like some, secrets, not necessarily like secretive information, but it could be like, things you don't want getting in the wrong hands, or you don't want the state file getting, lost or anything like that. Then you basically could have problems trying to rerun like your Terraform configuration. So once you get that set up, like I say, you sign up here and just go to try cloud for free. Now it's free for personal use. They do have pricing here, but once you don't need any users or anything like that, it's basically allows you to utilize its features and everything that we basically need for this environment. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in on mine. Actually, let me see. Cloud Terraform. I believe it's a different login. Yeah, so app.terraform.io. So I'm already signed in. So you see I get a bunch of workspaces. So once you get signed in, you're going to create an organization. Mine's just called YSU Grad. And then these workspaces, you're probably not going to have any, but that's fine because our code's going to actually create one for us. So I'm actually going to see if I can delete this one. I think I had one that was running that. Okay. So if I go to settings, destruction, delete, and we're just going to delete this real quick. I'm just going to have it recreated. So now that that's gone, once you go, we're going to need to create our IAM user. So you're also going to need an AWS account. Now, if you don't have one, just go to, open up a new window, just go to aws.amazon.com and just create a quick account. You just create an AWS account, follow these steps, get the email, and then sign in from there. Now, once you get that created, you want to come into AWS and you want to go to IAM roles. And you basically want to create a user that will allow you to enter in credentials or access the AWS account using just the CLI. You don't need GUI access or anything like that. So with that, I created a user called Terraform VPC admin, and that user just has access to Amazon VPC full access. So that's just a way to kind of prevent it from needing full access. So when you create this user, you're just going to go add users. I'm just going to put test here. You want to choose where it says access key. And then for permissions, you can just do attach, just put in VPC, full access. Let's see here. Oh, there we go. Couldn't see it. So VPC full access, next, and then review, and then create. And then you want to download this file here. So I'll just go in and delete that user since we don't really need it. Since I don't really need it. And delete. All right, so now once that's created, we're going to go in and we're going to set up our VPC configuration. Now, this configuration is just a basic VPC. It has a public and a private subnet, NAT gateway, and internet gateway, and some route tables. That's it. Now, outside of that, you may add additional things, but this is just a way to get you comfortable with how the configuration looks, how it works, the syntax, things like that. Now, I use Visual Studio Code, so with that, it helps actually with like the spacing, the indentation, things like that. So, you know, with that, you might, if you're using like another text editor, typically they all have the, the things built in to let you know where things need two spaces or two tabs or whatever, your formatting is for how you like to do it. So once you get your folder, created, you want to create a file called main.tf. And this is where we're going to store all our configuration. So basically you can just copy all of this here. This is basically what I have in my file. And you just paste it in there. And essentially what this is doing, this is saying Terraform, we're using the cloud for our backend. This is my organization. I want to create this workspace. And these are the required providers. Now, depending on if you're using like Azure or some other service, your provider may be different. So we're setting our provider down here and then the region that we want this in. So we're using US East 1. You could be using US East 2, US West 1, or West 2. We're setting up our VPC block, creating an elastic IP address, our internet gateway, our NAT gateway, and then, we have our subnets, public and private, our route tables, associating the route tables, and then this data is basically just for our availability zone. So up here at the top, you can see where we're choosing our availability zone based off the first one that we find, based off this bracket 0 here. So with that being said, once you get all this set up, you want to come in, and the first thing you got to run when you get Terraform is you need to go to the folder that you're in, and you're going to run a Terraform init. And what and let me actually back up out of it real quick. You're going to need to run a Terraform login actually. So this login is going to connect your cloud environment, your Terraform cloud environment to your PC to allow you to authenticate and things like that. Now, I kind of stepped forward a little bit. We do need to add in your IAM user's information into a variable set. So you want to go into the settings, go to variable sets, and you'll want to create a new variable set. Now you see how I have mine set up. You want to do an AWS access key ID. You want to make sure that you do sensitive. And let me see. So yeah, where it says add a variable, you want to do environment variable, put your key and then the value in there from that CSV that you downloaded from AWS, and make sure it says sensitive. And then just apply it to all workspaces. If this is just a lab environment, then it shouldn't really matter. So now that we got that set up, like I said, go back in here. We're going to run a Terraform init. And what this is doing, it's actually downloading the modules needed for this particular lab. So how we have it set up here, or the provider, so it's downloading this provider, and basically it's just an exe, really. That's basically all it is. And then we're going to run a Terraform plan. And what the plan does is basically runs through your configuration and just sees what it's basically going to build. And it's going to plan it out all on the screen here. And this is actually running. If we go back to our workspaces, let's see here. We have our workspace created here. And once this runs here, we'll show you in a sec. So you see how it has all this stuff. Now, some of this stuff isn't going to show because it's going to be known after the apply, but it's basically showing everything that's going to get created. So now that you got the plan, everything looks good. We make sure nothing's being destroyed. If this is like a production network, or anything's being changed. So 10 things is being added. So then we're going to run a Terraform apply. And basically it's just waiting for, it's going to, wait for the plan to start again. And then it's going to basically ask if you agree with everything that's going to happen. And you're just going to press yes, or enter yes. Once this comes up here. Now, being that it's running in the cloud, it's connecting back into there. You're seeing these things are actually running up here as well. So you can actually, do the same stuff that you're doing from your CLI up there. That's why there's like a little bit of a delay. If you weren't using the CLI, the cloud, then it might be a little faster. Gonna hit yes there. And as you see here, it's actually going to, you see how it's triggering these. It's going to start creating. Now I'm going to pause this because it does run a little long, because it has to do a NAT, create the NAT gateway, the internet gateway, all that stuff. So it has the depends on. So part of this won't run until the internet gateway is completed. So let me go ahead and pause this for a second here. All right, so that took a little bit over a minute, 40 seconds for the NAT gateway to get completed. So now if I do a Terraform show, it's going to basically show my environment now and all of the different key value pairs that were created up in the cloud. I can actually even go into my network here up in Amazon, and I can see my VPC that got created. Here I got my subnets that were created, route tables and all that. So now if we go and now that's basically it. So with that being created, everything is essentially built using these files. We have our state configuration and everything up in the cloud. So everything that you just seen from that Terraform file that we just ran is basically kind of housed up here in the cloud. So you can download it, store it anywhere else, lock it, things like that. So with that being said, that's basically it. If once you're done with all this, one thing that we will want to do if this is a lab environment is run a Terraform Destroy, and this will take all of the configuration that's up in AWS and destroy the environment back to its original state. So you will have to hit yes on this part to make sure that the changes that you want applied. So you see here I have 10 to destroy. So we'll just hit yes on there, and then that's it. So, with that being said, Terraform, if you've, want more information, they do have some tutorials on their website that you can check out to learn some of the different providers and platforms that they're integrated with. Do some additional videos on some of the other tutorials and ways to integrate in with like Azure and any other platforms as far as with networking and things like that. So hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll get back to you. And thanks. Hope to see you next time.